It is Thursday, July the 2nd, 124 days until the midterm elections. But I want to start tonight by talking about a different election. 3 summers ago, Jack Smith indicted Donald Trump for trying to overturn the 2020 election. Count 4 of the 4-count indictment was conspiracy against rights. Quote, from on or about November 14th, 2020 through on or about January 20th, 2021, in the District of Columbia and elsewhere, the defendant, Donald J. Trump, did knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree with co-conspirators, known and unknown to the grand jury, to injure, oppress, threaten, and intimidate one or more persons in the free exercise and enjoyment of a right and privilege secured to them by the Constitution and the laws of the United States. That is, the right to vote and to have one's vote counted. Despite that indictment, Donald Trump was never held accountable for trying to overturn the 2020 election. Now he's back in the White House, continuing to argue that he won that election while actively working to undermine the next election. Jack Smith, the man who indicted Trump, is troubled by it. He told my colleague Nicole Wallace earlier tonight that he's, quote, very concerned of what's going to happen in the next election. Trump continues to bully Congress to pass his voter suppression bill, and generally, he's telling any Republican who will listen to tighten restrictions around mail-in voting. He's installed one of his attack dogs, Bill Pulte, as the Director of National Intelligence, even though Pulte has no relevant experience for that job. But that's okay, because Trump has other plans for Pulte. Yesterday, he urged Pulte to declassify records related to the 2020 election. And the woman that Pulte chose as his chief of staff also has no previous experience in the intelligence community either, but she did previously oversee a so-called poll watcher program that included conservative conspiracy theorists. Meanwhile, the FBI has made it a priority to investigate the 2020 elections in Georgia, where Trump has never accepted his loss. The Bureau has surged resources toward the case and directed hundreds of analysts to find possible wrongdoing in an election that happened and was litigated and settled 6 years ago. There are also growing concerns that the Supreme Court's recent ruling expanding Trump's power over independent agencies could lead, I'd say likely to lead, to the politicization of the Federal Election Commission, which oversees elections across this country. These are the actions of a man and an administration that is desperate to cling to power. On the 250th anniversary of America, what you deserve is what Jack Smith wrote in his indictment. That is, the right to vote and to have your vote counted. Joining me now is the political content creator Harry Sisson, who has achieved broad reach online, posting content to his more than 2 million followers across social media platforms. And my old friend Joe Walsh, former Republican congressman from Illinois. He's now a Democrat, and he's the host of the Social Contract podcast. Gentlemen, thank you for being with me tonight. Harry, let me start with you. This thing starts and ends with the fact that Donald Trump is an election denier, an anti-democratic election stealer, and it is never going to end. All the stuff he does right now, the reason he thinks a housing bill is a yawn and affordability is boring is because he is trying to figure out how to keep Republicans in power without earning a single extra vote.
I mean, that's right. And they're doing it both publicly and privately,
Yes.
I would argue. I mean, Trump behind the scenes is appointing election deniers across our government. He's, pushing Republican lawmakers to get rid of the filibuster, to pass the SAVE Act, which would disenfranchise over 20 million American voters. But
Including
then
some of his own voters.
And by the way, I mean, states like West Virginia, Oklahoma, a lot of people don't have passports. But they're also doing it publicly. I mean, redistricting. Donald Trump called up Greg Abbott, and he said this publicly, give me 5 more seats. Sounds very similar to what he said in Georgia, the 11,000 votes. And so it's a 5-alarm fire, and, we're talking about it. People need to be informed about it, but it's happening, and we have to tackle it.
Joe, talk to me about the people. I think you probably still have some friends who are Trump supporters, fewer than you used to. You do have conversations with people. Where is this conversation going? This Trump, the oligarchy, the wealth that he plunders, the deals that he's making with other people, the stifling of votes. I've got to imagine there are conservatives in this country who are sick of this.
Hey, Ellie, the one thing that really resonates with and pisses off what I'm finding with Trump supporters are the way he's corrupted his office, the way he's enriched himself, the way he's stuffed his pockets with quite literally billions of dollars while also single-handedly, right, kind of screwing up the economy. That issue is resonating with his voters. But I got to be honest, Ellie, it just devastates me that and you said a few minutes ago that what Trump is doing to try to screw with the midterms, are the actions of someone trying to cling to power. Yes. It's worse than that, Ali. These are the actions of a traitor. What do we call someone who attacks our elections process? What do we call that? I mean, that interview that Jack Smith had today with Nicole Wallace, man, that's like a 5-alarm fire again. Think about what he said. He called on all of us, elected officials and the rest of us, to anticipate what the President of the United States is going to do to attack our elections. Think about that. We have to anticipate and prepare for what the president of our own country is going to do when he attacks our elections. Man,
it's not an invasion.
We're 250 years old, Ali. I'm tired of beating around the bush. This guy is a traitor. The guy in the White House is a traitor.
So, but Harry, here's the thing, and this is the thing that gives me strength. There is a resistance. There are millions of people who have taken to the streets for various protests. Joe was one of them. There are also millions more who are doing quiet things that you don't even know, supporting people who are going to court when an immigrant has a hearing. There are good people out there. They're trying to do what they can. And we're seeing it in election results. We're seeing these primaries where Democrats are outnumbering Republicans in Republican states in their voting. Are you hopeful or are you worried?
Well, I am hopeful. I mean, we're talking about some really important things right now that are happening. They can't just be ignored and go away. Yes. But there are so many people who are doing such great work. I want to point out that, Donald Trump has signed in a number of different executive orders targeting our elections. So far, courts have struck him down. Yep. Why? Because there are lawyers out there who are doing the quiet work. These cases and the long, arduous process aren't sexy. They don't get the headlines all the time, but they are beating Donald Trump in court. And it goes to show you that, yes, Trump is attacking every institution that we hold dear as Americans, but many of these institutions are holding firm. And if we win in the midterms, which I'm incredibly hopeful for, we can do that even more so.
Joe, let's talk about the accountability. I think, look, everybody talks about how the economy is the biggest issue, and I believe it is. And, I'm an economic journalist. It always is the biggest issue in an election. But in this particular instance, there is value in talking about what accountability looks like. If you end up electing Democrats, will they do something for America that will prove that there is still accountability, that there are actual rules, that there are expectations of what our elected officials will do? And I think that I get it. It may not be as important to somebody as the price of their gas or their food or their rent. I fully get that. But how do Democrats message both of these things at the same time?
Ali, we've talked about this a bunch. Look, the Democratic Party, in my mind, rightly is having their Tea Party moment. And they're electing a lot of these energetic folks on the left who are pledging to go to Washington to hold these people accountable. I mean, Ali, think about it. Trump can do what he's doing. I mean, again, stuff his pockets with billions because we don't have a Congress. That's the most powerful thing I hear Democrats say is give us the House so that we can at least do our job and hold these people in the administration in front of us, conduct actual oversight, and hold some of these people accountable. I think that's a hugely important message.
So, Harry, there's important context here. Joe, I don't know how long it's been that you and I have been talking and or fighting and debating, but this is important because Joe and I have both decided we're on the same side of democracy. There's a lot of pearl clutching going on in the Democratic Party right now about moderates versus progressives and DSA versus everybody else. But what I think Joe's articulating is that people want fighters. They want people who are going to go in there and say, give us this power so we will put things straight a little bit. We will hold people to account. I think the conversations about what the policies look like can come later.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get asked by Republicans about this all the time. Are you a communist? Are you a socialist? Do you align with this label? I couldn't give a damn about a label anymore. If you are somebody who wants affordable housing, economy that works for working people having food on the table, a roof over their home, you have a place in the Democratic Party. We will welcome you, and then we can figure out the little differences that we have later. We are a party that will focus on these working people, on people that need us most, whereas Donald Trump, as you guys are articulating, is making billions of dollars off of cryptocurrencies. One of the most sickening facts to me right now is Trump himself as an individual made more money from cryptocurrency than some of the largest crypto firms out there. That should not be the way that our democracy works. And if you stand against that and if you stand with things I just articulated, come on in. We can have a big tent.